Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of Game Chat. I'm going to start off today's chat with a hypothetical situation. Let's say you come up to me and say, "Hey Nolan, I just started my game collection and I want to add some titles to it quickly. I've got a very small collection. How do I build that up quickly with not a whole lot of cash?" Well, I've actually got a great solution for you. Now, here's the thing. If you want to build onto your collection quickly, but with not a whole lot of dough, odds are you're going to be going for quantity and not quality. So you may not be looking for the best games out there on the market. However, if you look hard enough, you can find some hidden diamonds in the rough. But what I'm going to show you today are some games that I've located at a store called Video Games Etc. They have this very small rack towards the back of the store, and everything in the rack is five games for $5. So it's $1 a game as long as you get 5 or 10 or any multiples of 5. So it's a really great way to build onto your collection. But typically you're not going to find top tier games, and they might be fun games, but it's usually it's usually a crapshoot, just whatever you can find. Anyway, why don't I go ahead and get started with the games? These are actually games that I bought together for $5 at a Video Game Etc. So let me get started. First one is Suzuki Superbikes. And this is a motorcycle racing game. Played this a little bit. Actually, my copy of the disc, the disc is a little bit scratched up, so my PlayStation kind of skips around a little bit. I actually had to clean the lens of my PlayStation in order to actually get a race to start. The videos in it play a little bit choppy, so it would actually benefit me to clean the disc itself. So let me just stop and warn you right there. Yes, if you buy from a used game store, there is a chance that you're going to find discs that are not pristine condition. So yes, this game has been around the block a few times, it would seem, and the disc is a little bit scratched up. Just to speak on the game itself in terms of gameplay, it was a lot of fun. I will say that. I do like racing games, so I had to pick this one up because I may have 1 or 2 motorcycle racing games, but I've never given this one a go. It was fun. The one thing I would have to comment about it, though, is I just started a race on easy mode, and I've only played one race on this so far. In easy mode, and I don't know if this applies to medium or hard mode as well, but the acceleration and braking handles very much the way it would on a cell phone game. So if you've ever played a racing game on a cell phone or an iPad, you might know that it accelerates for you, and more importantly, it actually brakes for you when you go into corners. So I found that I fell behind quite a bit on this game because I was braking for myself on corners, but then halfway through the race I realized it braked for me, and so I just had to hold down the acceleration the whole time. When I came into a corner, it would slow down as needed, and then I gained a lot of ground that way. So I didn't really care for that too much, but otherwise the racing mechanics were a lot of fun, and I would have to say in general, racing games are a pretty good bet. So if you can pick one up for $1, I'd say go for it. Most of the time racing games are good, unless the controls are bad, the physics are really bad, and there are a couple of bad racing games that I would say, no, do not try it. One, just off the top of my head, is Ford Racing 3 for the Nintendo DS. It is just a terrible game. It doesn't feel like you're driving very fast. The controls are poor. It's just a bad feeling game. Now that is actually a port or a remake of Ford Racing 3 from the PS2, and I have that game. I have played it. I would say on the PS2, of course, the graphics are better, the physics are better. That game's not as bad. Now I haven't played it a whole lot, so I can't give it a full review, but I just have to say PS2 not as bad. If you can pick that up for $1, sure, why not? Especially if you're just trying to build onto your collection. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. And this is where I'm talking about filling in with quantity and not quality. Madden NFL 2002, okay? So I never was a big sports game fan. I'm still not a huge sports game fan, but I realized something. Okay, Madden games and sports games in general, after they become just a few years old, they drop down to the price of almost nothing, almost a dime a dozen, you might say. So I thought, what better time to start building a Madden collection? Because I thought you could build up a Madden collection in almost no time flat. And so I, in fact, bought Madden 2002, 2004, and Madden 2005. So if you come over to my house, we can have a Madden party. I was going to say something about the Madden games, but I completely forgot what it was. Instead, I'll talk about something else. When the PlayStation came out, or when the PlayStation 2 came out, the games that they made for it originally came on CD-ROMs. Later on, they decided, you know what, the PS2 can hold DVDs. So then they started making games on DVD-ROMs instead. And the way you can tell is on a CD-ROM, the back of the disc, okay, so there's the front with the Madden image on it. On the back of the disc, it's purple if it's a CD-ROM, and if it's a DVD, it's just a regular shiny silver backing, which you would notice on any store-bought CD, but that's how you can tell the difference. So Madden 2002 is the purple CD, and Madden 2004 is the silver DVD. When they switched over from CD to DVD, I'm not quite sure. Somewhere in between there, 2002 may be the last CD copy that before they switched over to DVD. Not really sure because I do not have a copy of Madden 2003. I probably will since, like I said, I'm trying to add to my collection. I still can't remember what I was going to say about the Madden games, so I'll just move on. Anyway, I've showed you game number 1, Suzuki Superbikes, and game number 2, 3, and 4. So that brings us to game number 5. Now all those games that I've showed you so far are PS2. Everything on the rack, the 5 for $5, I've seen PS1 games, PS2 games, Xbox games, Xbox 360, and occasionally a GameCube game, and those are typically sports games as well. I'd have to say this 5 for 5 rack is pretty inundated with sporting games, just because, like I said, once they become so old, they become worth next to nothing. Anyway, the 5th game that I found, and I felt pretty fortunate for this, was the original Max Payne for the original Xbox. If you don't know much about the Max Payne series, which I don't, actually. I haven't played much of the games myself. I played this game for about 5-10 minutes. It was very interesting in terms of storytelling. Max Payne is one of the hard-boiled detectives, think like 1940s crime drama. And it's very film noir, where Max Payne's always doing his voiceover and saying things like, it was the kind of night that I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not even gonna try to do a film noir, but if you look up a film noir, think dirty street detective wearing a trench coat, smoking a cigarette. You just kind of get the idea that it's going for there. Anyway, Max Payne, it's what I played of it. I enjoyed it. I didn't get a whole lot into it, but of course it is the original Xbox. The graphics have dated themselves. They're looking kind of old. So this is my only entry into the Max Payne series that I've actually played. I've seen the Max Payne movie, which I thought was pretty good, not having played any of the games at that point, and I would recommend it. Any of these games, if you can find them for $1 a piece, which I have done, I would recommend picking them up. Max Payne, I would probably say you get the most bang for your buck. If you love racing, Suzuki Superbikes, you can't go wrong for $1. Especially if you're trying to add to your collection and build onto your shelves like I have done here, then yeah, something like Suzuki Superbikes would be great to add to your collection. If you're buying games on the iTunes, the Apple Store, you're probably going to spend at least 99 cents, maybe $1.99 for a game. So for a game like Max Payne or Superbikes, definitely worth $1 just to have in your collection, especially if you like to show off. Plus, they're not bad games. Max Payne, it spawned 2 sequels, so it's got to have some redeeming factors there in itself. Madden, if you're a sports junkie, definitely pick up Madden games for $1. Why go out and buy the brand new Madden games that come out on a year-to-year basis when you can just wait a couple of years, pick them up for $1, $2, maybe $3 tops. Went into a GameStop. I saw Madden 2012 for, I think it was about $8. If I wait another year, it'll be down to $4 maybe. Anyway, that's my entry into the 5 for 5 games. Stick around, keep watching videos. I might have more 5 for 5 games or more cheap video game steals, which I found while I'm out shopping. And while you're checking out my videos, please leave me some comments, ask some questions. I'd be happy to answer your questions, and I'd love to know what you think. Anyway, thanks again for watching.